For me personally, mental health started from a young age. I was put into a special needs class, which I had to learn with disabled kids.
Hi guys, welcome back to The Balcony. My name is Mitchu, and today I have a special guest here who goes by the name Mozy, and he has a really amazing story as to, his into fitness and mental health, and there's a story behind why he started it, and I was really captivated, and I wanted to share that story with you as well. I hope you enjoy this story. Hi, how are you?
Very well, thank you.
You're doing well? Good. All right, so I wanted to chat to you a little bit about your story. I think it's really cool. And just kind of take us back a little bit. Tell us a little bit about yourself, your name, where you're from.
Yes, my name is Moses, but everyone calls me Mr. B or Mozy B.
Okay.
That's the actual name I named myself at the age of 13.
Okay.
It's a pet name, but it's also my egotistical name.
Okay. Yeah. Mr. B.
Mr. B.
Okay.
Mozy B.
That's really cool. How did you come up with it?
My pet name at home was always Mozy, or most people call it Mozy.
But short for Moses?
Yeah.
Okay.
And most times when I was in trouble, my mum would use the full name. So if she was in a happy mood, she would call me in my short version.
Yeah. That happens a lot, especially in my house.
Oh yeah.
Like they shorten your name when they're very in a happy mood, or they just were and then when they're not, you get the whole name with the surname.
So and also I'm originally from Zimbabwe. Moved to the UK 2003.
Okay.
And pretty much spent my whole adult life in the UK.
Yeah. When you moved from Zimbabwe, when you moved from there to here, how was that the transition, the change?
Very interesting. Culture shock. First and foremost, I thought I was going to London, not the UK, because back home we always just say London. That person's from London, or you're going to London. And the streets are made of gold from our perspective back home. Paradise. So I was expecting to be treading on gold.
Is it?
Potentially getting money off trees.
Seriously?
That's the version I had.
Yeah.
It's only also because of the people that have been in the UK and went back home.
Yes.
They come over here 3 months and then go back, and they've made a lot of money almost as if overnight. So it's always been intriguing. Whereas to then find out that you would have to work
hard to get that money,
sleepless nights.
Oh man, I can't imagine if you were to, when I was back home, right, before I came here, we, especially with because I was in school, I was in a boarding school. I never really went to just a private school or whatever, just boarding school. Okay. And it was just only girls boarding school. So we used to hear a lot about we had sponsors coming through. So our school was actually sponsored by Western, it was I think he was from America or something. Okay. It was his school, and he would come visit sometimes once in a year or so. And then we're just oh, these people are very rich. They have a lot of money. So we had that in mind as well. Okay, so you came here, and then I know that you're very much into fitness and stuff. Could you maybe tell us a little bit more about how you started and why you're interested?
So fitness, I've always been athletic. Number 3 out of 4. My older brother, he was always the geek, the one who's always in the house. He is a musician. He's one of the top guys in my country with engineering. But whereas for me, I wanted my own identity, doing some sports. So I did a lot of different types of sports, pretty much name it, I've probably tried it.
Football, basketball,
Yes.
all of it.
So, whereas fitness as a whole, I got into it after an accident. A couple of years back, I got into a car accident, and I injured my knee, my neck, and my back. And through physio, my physiotherapist was he was kind enough to explain to me, for my age, I can regain full strength in my physique. And he suggested certain movements that I could do at home.
Yes.
And he asked me if I went to gym, and he showed me which equipment I could use to strengthen my knee further. Specifically, my knee was my biggest one because of being able to be mobile.
Right. Can I take you back a little bit? So you said you got into accident. Was that like just by yourself, or were you in a?
I was in an accident with a friend of mine. He got injured. His right arm was injured, but we both survived. The person who hit us, sadly to say, he had a bad leg. So it was a guy on a motorbike. He hit us. I think he was in a rush to deliver something, because he got off the bike saying, "I'm sorry, it's my fault. I'm in a rush."
Yeah.
And me and my friend we didn't really feel the injuries at the time because of adrenaline. But after a while, a couple of, I would say 30 to 45 minutes later, was when the adrenaline started to wear off, and I kept on saying, I can't move my neck properly, even my back is feeling stiff. Then standing up, I was like, I can't walk on my leg. So yeah.
So you were taken straight to like A&E, and then like they just
not necessarily taken. We basically, me and my friend were on our way to purchase a car for his mother.
Yeah.
So he needed a lift so he could drive the car back.
Yeah.
So we completed the sale, bought the car, and then I think we both decided, let's just go get checked up.
Yeah.
So by
just
the time,
in case.
just in case.
Yeah.
But by the time we got there, literally the adrenaline had started wearing off, and that's when I was like, definitely. When they asked us, how do you feel?
Yeah.
Not just the feeling, but after a nurse examined us, they felt numbness on us, stiffness.
The nerves were not.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh God.
So, yeah.
That must have been very scary.
Yeah, very. The scary part was the incident itself.
Yeah.
But it just happened all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Because the guy, I had seen him 3-4 cars behind us before I was taking a turn.
You mean the cyclist?
Motorbike.
Oh, okay.
It was a 600cc bike.
Yeah.
Big bike, basically. All I had was woo, and then bah!
Yeah.
The only reason why he hit into us, I'm glad he hit into us. For some people might disagree, but why I was creeping into the turn was there was a bus coming out of that turn, turning towards where the opposite direction of us.
Yeah.
So imagine the bus is turning off, I'm turning in.
Yeah.
And the moment the bike came up to us, he probably saw, the bus.
Yeah.
It could have been a head-on collision.
Yeah.
So he went into us and then veered off.
Oh my gosh, horrific. It could have, somebody could have died there, and then,
He could have, I was glad he hit it to us, not necessarily because of the compensation that came after. But it was just, for him, he could have lost his life instantly because of how quick he just went off.
Yeah.
Sometimes
things happen and you're like, God, did that really happen? After a while you think about it, you're like, did I just like go through that? Like, do you know what I mean?
That's true.
I could have been gone right now. Like, I'm actually alive.
No, that's true. after the incident, even driving, he was now driving us back, but he had an issue with his arm, so we had to swap.
He
a lot.
did. Nobody called like the.
No,
There was
so
no like witness.
we drove to the A&E,
Yeah.
and after the examination and all the written work that was done, driving home, we had to decide who's driving.
Yeah.
Because I had an issue with my knee and he had an issue with his arm.
Yeah.
So we swapped.
Wait, didn't you have like, you didn't have a phone like to call maybe like with, you know, family, friend, or somebody to call, like even the guy?
We could have.
Yeah.
But how can I say this? African male nature.
Yeah.
You're dependent until you're not able. So at the time when they gave us medication, we felt fine. We just decided, you know what?
There's no point.
There's no point bothering someone else to drive all the way to then pick us up, and then also, are we going to leave the car? So it was like one of those, yeah, are you able? Yeah, we'll swap. Let's take it in turns. And after the incident, driving myself, I was more aware of motorbikes.
Now you're like very careful. Like.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Let's go. Oh, I mean, I can't imagine it. I've never been in an accident, fortunately, thank God. But if I was to be in that kind of situation,
Yeah.
I don't know what I would do. Honestly, like I'll just be confused. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even calling parents. Now that I think about it, I'm like, I would call my mom, but in that situation, you don't want to like. You'll think, oh, they'll be worried. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
They will like stress or whatever. So you just keep it to the side.
Yeah. Well, we called our parents straight after Annie with all the information. Yeah, we've been in an accident. The doctor said this and that. We'll be fine.
We're cool.
Yeah.
After you already like cleaned it up, you're like, we're good.
Yeah.
Ah, okay. So you left. So then you went to had a physio. Everything good.
So with the physio, I was mentioning that he showed me some movements that I could use in the gym. So going back into the gym, I was intimidated by how big certain guys were. Even some girls were quite big.
And
Compared to the frame I have, I don't class myself as big.
Yeah.
But I've always had a small frame.
Yeah.
And it was smaller than what it is now because of the work I've put in fitness-wise. It's been very hard to focus on getting my healing back, and then trying to look at other people and admire and think, oh, could I get there?
Yeah.
So I started asking questions. What do you do? What do you take?
Tips.
Tips
Give us some way.
And I realized for myself quite quickly. I had a really good friend who told me, don't take steroids unless you know you're going to use it as a professional thing. Meaning bodybuilding, going on stage.
Even so, it's not a good idea.
Even then, this guy was on it for over 8 years before that conversation, and he was just telling me his backstory on
the side effects
on taking stuff. He suggested certain protein shakes that didn't agree with me specifically.
Which ones?
No sponsorship
here,
so
yeah, they don't care about us.
so I'm not advertising anyone. So, I then decided if I was going to do this, I would make sure that it was a lifestyle change. So I changed my diet, I changed even my sleeping habits, my drinking habits, alcohol to a minimum, takeaways. Till this date, I said this to my friend. I went out this weekend with one of my friends, and we grabbed a takeaway afterwards, and I was like, this is waste of money.
and waste all my energy that I had to spend in the gym.
Yeah.
The
And I was
effort.
like, I'm not buying. And he's like, yeah, I'll buy for it. I'll buy for it. It's like, okay, if you're buying it, it's cool.
Yeah.
But I haven't bought takeaway for
a while.
for a couple of years now. I won't
very
go
cool.
out my way to have takeaway because my body's now sensitive to fast food.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so no
Because-
fast food at all.
Not necessarily.
Not even
no.
like cheat days, sometimes when you just want to cheat a little, like
Yeah,
once
but-
in a month.
Yeah, see, this is where now people, once you have a setup where you can dibble and double,
Yeah.
which is like cheat days and stuff like that, you lose focus. The times when I used to do cheat days at my early stages of doing gym, I would be full on the whole week, and then weekend, the 2 days, Saturday and Sunday, I'll be like binge eating, and it almost cancels out what you have done over the like 5 days prior. So my ethos was because I was raised by an army dad. Our household was very stringent, very strict. We had certain rules. Even on a weekend, we had curfews, and we
curfew?
had yes.
Wait, until how old though? Till like 18?
No. Till probably 13, because 12, 13 was when I actually went into boarding school.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yes, that's where also the name Mozy was originally sealed.
Ah, right.
Because most people in school, people would call me by the Moses name, the Bible Moses.
Yeah.
And they would sing songs. Not necessarily students; it was the
The
teachers
teachers are.
who would sing a song. Oh, this one is gonna be a prophet. This one's this.
Yeah.
Whereas for me, I wanted my own identity, not to be attached. Also because I had an older sibling, my brother. I was always called Thingy's brother. My brother's name is Tammy. So they always call me Tammy's brother.
Tammy's brother.
With not calling me by my
Why don't
name.
they call you by your name? Like you have your own. Yeah.
So I quickly realized if I have an identity for myself, it will be better for me to actually be known by the world and be myself around people.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
That's important. Okay, so after that, then you started going gym regularly.
Yes.
Wait, how do you stick to being regularly, like? Because I feel like that's a challenge for most of us. I feel like if you actually discipline yourself and say, you know what, this day, this time, I'm gonna go to gym. Write it down. I think that would work. I personally did that. So in the beginning of the year, I was like, you know what, them usually. Yeah, I said, I'm gonna try to be more healthy, less junk food, more of exercise.
Yeah.
But it's a little hard for some of us to like stick to every day.
No, all I can say is with everything, it's practice makes better, not perfect. So the moment you start doing something, the only thing that keeps you going is not necessarily motivation, it's consistency. How bad do you want it? What I quickly learned with doing fitness is with my injury, I didn't want not to be able to do certain things.
Yeah.
And I wanted my health to be on point.
Yeah.
Even if it's average, as long as if it's a little bit above average, I'm still happy. I'm not necessarily looking to be any special.
Be healthy.
Big. I just wanted to be healthy and fit. So how I did it was small tasks at a time. Overwhelming yourself with okay, I'm going to do 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, all those things don't work. I started with literally I'm gonna do 100 press-ups this week.
So have small goals and just like
goals.
achieve them.
Yeah, small goals will help.
Makes sense. So we talked a little bit about mental health. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so for me personally, mental health started from a young age. I was put into a special needs class, which I had to learn with disabled kids, blind, deaf. I'm not sure some of the words that are dumb. People that couldn't speak.
Couldn't speak completely, or just
Yes, they couldn't articulate sound from their voice boxes. Those were the kind of my friends, my early friends when I was growing up.
Yeah.
So I had to communicate with some of them. I used to know how to sign language before, when I was younger, based on the fact that I had a friend who used to sign. And I got to experience the way they look at the world from their eyes and from how they experience things and from their own opinions. And it's led me even up to now, where when I'm talking to just any individual in general, people go through issues that they genuinely can't voice out confidently. Sometimes with us Africans, it can be a cultural thing where it's shunned upon, where you're not allowed, or it's shamed upon talking about mental health. Whereas where the environment I grew up, it was always open, and I would feel free to self-express, to be myself, which has enabled me to gain more confidence in who I am, and really identifying who I am in myself first, to then present that to other people. For most people, identity is one of those things that shakes a lot of people. It's always about worry of what other people's opinion of them is. Whereas if you end up in a mindset of being positive, genuine to yourself, and being authentic, the thing that I value the most is being present. I'm sure majority of people watching now can really understand what I'm trying to put out is the moment you are present, you engage with the individual, whoever you're talking to, on a deeper level compared to small talk. I can take you into a deep conversation without you really knowing that that's where we're going. But I intrigue you into going where I'm taking you, because what I've learned is self-control is the most important thing that you can ever do for yourself, which then helps you make decisions like when you set New Year's resolution goals, you can then at the end of the year tick that box that you stuck to your guts, and you stuck to the list that you put out. The one thing that I'll say with motivation is not the only thing that can keep you doing things that you need to do. Consistency is. So
self-discipline,
yes. So small goals, accomplishable goals. Once you start setting those things and they become second nature to you, you just then have to just add another small goal that you know you want to accomplish. By the end of the year, you find that you've accomplished more goals than if you put 20 in one day and try and accomplish them. Whereas if you space them out, you find
one by one.
Yeah. Rome wasn't built in a day, so it's taken a brick at a time. Will Smith described a story of him and his brother. Their dad had a farm. I think it was a butcher, and they wanted. He knocked down the front wall, and he said to them both they need to build the front wall. And all they had to do is, instead of stressing about how big they need to make it or how far they have to go, is just focus on that one brick at a time and just place it as perfect as possible, and then do the same to the next. Once you start having those kind of habits within yourself, you find a perfect wall afterwards, where you don't have to look back and say, oh, that was a mistake. Even mistakes are not L's, losses. They're actually, I value them as lessons. So whenever I go through life, that's what I try and do, is have a positive mindset on whatever I do. Even if I fail, it's not a fail, it's a lesson. I pick up from that, I learn from that, and then I use those to my next beneficial progress.
It's the process.
It's the
Life
process.
is a process anyway. So if you're, for example, if you're making something, let's say you're molding something, you would say, there are some parts where you'll make errors. So it's like more like clinical trial.
Yes.
And that it's not always like 100% every time. You don't always get the right results out of it. So it's just learning from it. You make mistakes, you learn, you move on. So what do you think was the hardest bit when you mentioned about the dyslexia, stammering problem, the accident? What part do you think was the hardest bit, and very hardest as in it was difficult for you to overcome it or get out of that situation? Which part was the hardest?
I'll say it's all of it, on the basis of once you go through something, it stays with you. So even in my darkest days, those things come back.
Okay.
So I'm constantly reminded of certain things, incidents that have happened in my life experience or my life journey, and all I do is I found a way of getting myself out of that headspace, because all it is, it's just a mental state. So regardless of whether it's something that happened a couple of years back or yesterday, it affects me the same, based on the fact that the feeling that's induced in that process is going to be the same. It just feels different because it's new or it's something else, but the feeling itself is just going to be the same feeling. Whereas what I then realize is I changed my mindset on when I have down days. I have a method of getting myself out of certain situations, even under pressure. You would never tell that I'm anxious right now. Also based on the fact that I use my anxiety or my feeling of nervousness to my advantage, where I've just retrained my brain to understand this is not danger, this is not run, this is stay, fight. You can do it because you've done it before, and you will always be able to do it the next time.
And it's also like how your brain will actually tell you, like there's a part of the brain, when I learned in science, there's a part that's like it will notice or it will actually recognize the danger, and then it will tell you, oh, do you know what? But if you've actually programmed your mind to actually cope with that situation and how to cope with it and how to then it will actually make it easier for you to as you said, so if you're anxious or you have like flashbacks or memories, stuff like that, to how to process it properly. And I think that's where we talk about like depression, anxiety, and all these different illnesses that we put stigma to it. I think specifically in
back in Africa, majority of it is cultural.
We don't talk too much about it, or we're not aware of it mainly. And I think it's really important that, especially with our, now we're lucky because we learn about it in school. Well, I learned about it in school because I learned science. But I think it's important to have that knowledge just in case, you have somebody who's going through something. It could be a friend, it could be a family member. So you can, kind of just be there to support them, because they might need that. Like some days you're very like active and very like happy.
Oh yes.
And sometimes you just go home and you're very like stressed out and depressed.
Yeah.
So we always need to have like that, be aware of it.
Oh yeah.
And also seek for help.
Yeah.
I think that's really important to have that.
Yeah.
So after, so we talked about mental health and fitness. So you got into fitness because of what happened. You overcame that, and then you actually used that to as a lifestyle, basically. It's not just going to the gym, it's more of a lifestyle.
It's more of a lifestyle. It's helped me also when I feel down. So what tends to happen when I'm feeling down is I start beating myself down, right? Just as an example, I know what makes me feel better. So one of the best things that I do is exercise. I then, or cleaning, or just sitting quiet and meditating, just calming my nerves.
It never works for me. It doesn't, to be honest.
So the one thing that I genuinely do to bring myself back out of certain things, music is a big influence in my life. So I put on a good track. Majority of it.
What kind of music do you listen? You want to share with us?
So if
it's just instrumental, like, because I usually, when you can't sleep sometimes.
Yeah.
I used to listen to like instrumental, like very slow, like.
Yeah. I've got different types of music for different occasions. So for sleeping, I use either white noise, water, those sounds, something like in a spa, what you would get. But at the moment, I'm into chill pop, lo-fi music, which is very soothing, but it's like a hip hop, but almost like soulful kind of like instrumental. When it comes to when I'm in the gym, I use amapiano. It's got the same tempo for each song, which keeps me going. So when it goes on to the next song, I'm still on the same kind of energy boost level. So
very cool. So now that you have like coping mechanisms, do you have any like advice in terms of like mental health, or it could be fitness? Any advice for young people who are struggling with it, or somebody who could relate to you, that's actually maybe going through, I don't know, the difficulties that you had in the past? It could be the stammering, it could be the dyslexia, it could be just they're going through something and they say, oh, you know what, I'm actually struggling. How can I help myself to get out of this situation? Any advice that you could give them?
The only advice that I would say, when I give advice, I like to use a phrase of if I was to go back in my past, and what I would tell myself is basically, I'll tell my younger self, life is gonna be hard, but you have the control, not any exterior forces. Those things do affect, but you still have the decision to make. One thing at a time. It's never too late to start. And once you start, keep pushing. Don't give up. Consistency. So all those things put into the right format, they can get anyone out of any situation. And note, there's nothing new under the sun. So whatever you're going through, someone else out there in the world has gone through it and has survived it. So know that there is help out there, and people that are willing to support and help you out of any situation.
And it's also important to notice, oh, you know what, I have this problem and I need to work on it, or I need to find, or, you know, get that support that you need, get the help that you need. I think that's really vital in anything, really. It could just be generally in life, if you're stuck somewhere, or it could just be maybe you're having like difficulties with something. It's really important to just like know when and how to get support. Don't struggle by yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. But yes, thank you so much for coming and for sharing your story.
Yes.
I am informed, I'm inspired, I am honestly, like, I've had a good time and I've actually enjoyed your conversation.
That's good.
I will invite him back again if you guys really enjoyed his story, or if you learned something, or if there is anything that touched you in any part of that story. Feel free to comment down below and share with us your story as well. We'll just leave the link or my email address. You could just share your story. This is a free platform that we want to have, you know, a lot more people here so we can share more stories, and we're more like a family. So yes, but thank you for being here, and also it's been nice having Mozy here today.
Thank you for having me.
All right, thank you. Bye bye.